Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be making a tier list for exclusive equipment plus 10 upgrades onto heroes on your account, because this is a really important upgrade to increase the power of the heroes on your account, but it is also a very expensive upgrade, and so you're going to have to use your temporal essences wisely and be investing into the heroes which are going to bring the most to your account. So for this video we're definitely going to be considering PvP and PvE, but I'm going to be putting an emphasis and a preference onto the PvE heroes, especially the Dream Realm heroes, who are really going to benefit from the plus 10 upgrade, because in my opinion those should be your #1 priority on your account, because when you get them upgraded it's going to directly be reflected in your rankings, which are going to earn you more temporal essences back to continue working on those heroes as well as PvP heroes. So with that covered, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the ordering that we have here. Leading it off with Scarlita. So Scarlita is one of the best PvP heroes to be upgrading to plus 10. That is when she is going to unlock her ability to knock off enemies from the battlefield if their HP ratio is below 20% or below 180% of attack of Scarlita. So definitely this is a top tier PvP upgrade. However, it isn't overall top tier for Dream Realm, especially because in Dream Realm, Scarlita is just not a top performing hero. Pre-Endless and post-Endless, she doesn't have any place in the top teams. So I'm going to be putting her in the A tier for now, but I might bump her up to the end of the S tier. Also in this tier list, we're going to be trying to arrange the heroes in order. So for example, even within the S tier, not all heroes will be equal. The ones all the way at the front, those are going to be your #1 priority. And yeah. Okay, Diurnal. Diurnal, again, a PvP hero, gets a big upgrade with his plus 10 exclusive equipment, allows him to deal additional true damage with his arrow attacks at the beginning of when he gets up to maximum intoxication stacks, and reduces vitality of enemies hit. So definitely, again, a top tier PvP upgrade. Also, just to mention, whenever you upgrade a hero to plus 10 exclusive equipment, not only are you getting skill upgrades, you're also increasing their base stats. And for these Diurnal and Scarlita, increasing their attack is really valuable, as well as whatever other offensive stats they can get. Okay, next up we have Dunlinger. So Dunlinger plus 10 exclusive equipment, in my opinion, is not very important. He's a tank, and by upgrading to plus 10, it increases the boost of attack buff to his protected ally from 2% up to 4%, which is meaning this hardly means anything. It's a very minor boost, so I would say honestly Dunlinger for plus 10 is going to be in the C tier. For two reasons. #1, it's a PvP upgrade. #2, it is not a meaningful upgrade to plus 10. Plus 15, he gets the haste, but we're talking about plus 10 in this video. And so Dunlinger eventually will be good, but he's going to be way down the line of all these other heroes we're going to be talking about. Okay, Talene plus 10. Now, I'm going to be putting Talene into the S tier because... So plus 10 exclusive equipment upgrade, it doesn't give anything like a skill upgrade, anything special for Talene. However, it's going to give her stats, giving her more attack. And that is important for her performance in Dream Realm to increase your score, and also is important for PvP. So I do still consider Talene a plus 10 exclusive equipment good upgrade, because especially when before getting to Endless Dream Realm bosses, she's a top tier damage dealer. In Endless, she's only good in 2 out of the 8 bosses right now. It might change with the Mythic Plus charms coming out, but either way, plus 10 exclusive equipment on Talene is going to be S tier, in my opinion. Okay, Burial. Burial is also going to be in the A tier. If you can get him plus 10 exclusive equipment, he'll be better in PvP. He causes enemies who are being attacked by the silhouettes to lose more energy. And so it's an important skill upgrade. Also, it gives him stats. You know, honestly though, I think I might actually put him in the B tier for now. I might rearrange it, but basically he's a lower priority in my opinion than Scarlita and Diurnal. And really Scarlita is kind of a higher priority than Diurnal in my opinion, but they're in order right now. Okay, Rainier. Rainier is one that I'm not going to put in the S tier. I don't think he's quite to the S tier, but I am going to put him above Diurnal in the A tier, because the plus 10 exclusive equipment of Rainier is going to give him 25% basically damage reduction onto the position swap ally. This is useful for PvP. For Dream Realm, the thing is, it's not really too useful, because usually that damage reduction is not going to make or break your team. Like, for example, if you need more survivability, you'll be running Smoky Coco to protect your team. The Rainier damage reduction won't really do the trick for you. and in endless bosses you don't have any issue surviving. So but for PvP the damage reduction is pretty important, so that's why I consider Rainier's plus 10 a PvP mainly upgrade. It doesn't help you that much in Dream Realm. It's not going to increase your damage output, and for the most part I think that damage reduction is kind of negligible. Okay, Cassidy has an important plus 10 upgrade, so I'm going to put in the B tier, but she's not important in any game mode right now. That's the problem. Her plus 10 upgrade will cause her when she casts Running Tide onto your allies, it will empower their normal attacks, and after dealing 6 of those empowered normal attacks from any of the allies in total, she will cast an Undercurrent attack to knock up the enemy and also deal pretty good damage. But the thing is, she's just not useful in any bosses right now. Maybe in the future there will be bosses that will make good use of her. Who knows, maybe if Plague Creeper is added into the rotation of Dream Realm bosses, maybe she will be good there, although I still find it doubtful. It was mainly because of the Greyborn faction talents that she was good. But either way, her plus 10 is an important skill upgrade, but she's just not an important hero to be upgrading. So maybe I should put in the C tier actually. Okay, Feresto plus 10 exclusive equipment, again, is not going to give him anything special. Just like the Taylene upgrade, they get a special skill upgrade when they get to plus 15. But the thing is, Feresto is going to gain stats from that plus 10 upgrade, and he is a top tier Dream Realm damage for endless bosses, so I'm gonna say he's in the S tier for the plus 10 exclusive equipment. After Taylene though, I don't know if it's after Taylene or before Taylene. It's something that I realized when I was looking at the amount of gains he gets from the plus 10 upgrade and the plus 15, he doesn't gain that much attack because he's a tank. So each level, and he's also only going to gain like other additional like tanky stats like vitality and stuff. Taylene, I don't remember exactly what she gets. I think she gets haste along with her attack, and her attack gains are going to be higher because she's a damage dealer from her exclusive equipment upgrade to plus 10. So that's why I consider maybe Taylene more important than Feresto to plus 10, but both are in the S tier. Vala. So Vala is a PvP hero, so we're gonna have to put her in the A tier. She's purely basically PvP, and her plus 10 upgrade is not so important. It gives her basically 40% healing of her health after killing an enemy, but the thing is, she already will become untargetable after killing an enemy, so that healing usually I don't think makes a big difference. So I would put her at the end of the A tier, or maybe at the top of the B tier. You know, I'm gonna put her at the top of the B tier. We have to be a bit strict with our list because there are gonna be a lot of heroes to be added here. Rowan is a hero that he will get another super potion triggered if you can get his plus 10 exclusive equipment upgrade, but he is mainly a PvP hero in AFK stages. He doesn't need this for AFK stages. I'm gonna put him honestly in the C tier for the plus 10 upgrade. Like, it is again a meaningful skill upgrade, but it's not needed at all on your account. Rowan does everything that he needs to do with the energy generation just by having him without any exclusive equipment upgrade. And the stats on him are not so important from the upgrade, so C tier. Atalanta will be in the C tier. She does get a meaningful upgrade, but she's just not a useful hero in any game mode right now. Like, her meaningful upgrade is that like she gets stat basically drainage, reducing stats of enemies hit with her sweet counter ability, and also absorbing those stats for an 8-second duration. If she was useful in some game mode, maybe she would be higher, but she's just not useful anywhere right now, so C tier. Brutus doesn't need his upgrade. He's a tank. And even if you want to increase his damage from his Mythic Plus ability basically is going to apply every 5 seconds to enemies, and if you upgrade him to plus 10, then it can potentially apply quicker than that, but you know, not even, like, it has to take 10 hits of physical damage before it will trigger, even at its plus 10 upgrade. So I thought about it and I'm like, well, realistically speaking, it's probably still going to be like a 5-second cooldown even on that triggering, and so it doesn't make a big difference. And for the stats, he doesn't need it. He's fine at plus 5 exclusive equipment or below. Basically, a lot of heroes are fine at plus 5, and even you do not need to get them to plus 5 because you're going to be limited on title essences, and so just leave them at plus 0 for a long time, like the heroes who are down in the list here. Okay, Temesia. Temesia, again, she does not need the plus 10. Now, her plus 10 is not bad, but the thing is, it is not really a meaningful skill upgrade. I'm going to put it at the top of the C tier because it is going to increase basically your HP recovery amount from 1% to 1.2%, which means practically nothing. And in Dream Realm bosses, it's not going to change anything, pretty much. That difference doesn't do anything. Just getting her to plus 5 to get that 1% HP healing per second. That is more than enough. So C tier for her. Lumont, again, going to be in the C tier. He's a tank. He is fine. A +5, I think, is when he gets his meaningful skill upgrade. After that is just for the stats, which are not needed. So he is not a priority to +10. Smokey is a pretty, and you know, because of the endless dream run bosses, I have to put him in the S tier. Because for two reasons. So his effect that he gets at +10 is that every second, when he is casting his blue aura, he will stun enemies for 0.1 second, which is useful for AFK stages, but I don't think AFK stages are such a big priority for your account because eventually you're going to be able to complete them with any team you're running. But I think it is a priority for him because getting him to +10, that gives him more attack percent. Those stats are going to matter and increase his damage output to end this dream on bosses with his blue aura. Now, it's mainly only for endless bosses. Pre-endless, his damage output is really low. But once you get to endless, when he deals that HP per second damage to the basically infinite HP health enemies, that is when he shines. Okay, now Reese. Reese is not a meta hero. He's a purely PvP hero as well, and also he gains no meaningful upgrade from his +10 exclusive equipment. He is going in the C tier. Okay. Now we have Shakir. Shakir gets a very meaningful upgrade from his +10 exclusive equipment. It will cause his Wolf Will attack buff that he gains from having non-summoned allies nearby him. He will then share that with his all other allies on the team when he is in his Wolf form. But it is only a 2-tile range of his Lupine's aura, which will be sharing this buff. Now, he is definitely a top priority. He's definitely in the S tier. The question is, how high do I want to put him? The thing is really difficult because, like, Shakira is useful in some bosses, but in some bosses he's not. Like, in endless bosses, he's using 3 out of 8 of the top performing teams, which is not, it is a decent amount, but it's not a huge amount, right? And so getting them +10 is only going to help you in those 3 bosses, number 1. Number 2, you need to have other heroes built up to make Shakir even functional. Like, Shakir on his own at +10 is not going to carry your team. You need to have all these other heroes built. Like, this was something that I realized early on in the game. I'm going to put in the end of behind Smokey in the S tier. Definitely still S tier, but he comes down the line after you have these other heroes upgraded, in my opinion. Because, okay, my story is that I upgraded Shakir to +10 early on in the game, and because I thought his buff is so valuable, the +10 upgrade has to help you, right? But the problem is you could never take advantage of it, like when you were running OD, Merrily, things like that. And this was a time like before I had Rainier at Mythic Plus, so there's no position swap OD strategies for Shakir buffing up the OD. So then it was like, what am I doing with the +10 exclusive equipment Shakir? So basically, you need to have other heroes all well built up before Shakir really begins shining, but then he is amazing. So you need to have the other heroes built first. Okay, also +10. She does gain a meaningful skill upgrade for this. She's a pretty meta PvP hero. She's using one of the Dream On bosses, but you don't need her +10 for any of this, right? Even to be fully functional in Dream On boss, she doesn't need a +10 exclusive equipment upgrade. So I'm going to put her around Vala. Definitely a good option in PvP, but I'm not considering her higher than this. Okay, Mikola. Mikola is really difficult. Now, I can't put Mikola in the S tier, unfortunately, because number 1, she doesn't get a meaningful skill upgrade from her +10 exclusive equipment. It gives her more vitality to the allies who have Combat Fury on them, which will increase your healing effectiveness. But the thing is, in endless bosses, the boss is not killing you, like we've mentioned many times, so that bonus vitality doesn't do anything for your team. Her damage output is increased by getting her to +10 because her attack is going to be slightly increased by getting her to +10. But you're just doing it for the stats. And number 2, Mikola is not a major damage source of your team. The way that she powers up your team is from her haste buff and from her attack buff of the Honor Arena. Her damage from the Combat Fury is just cherry on top of the cake. It's a very minor contribution. So I do not consider her a top priority to +10. She's totally fine at +5 and can be set there for a long time. However, I'm definitely going to put in the A tier because, like, eventually all the stats matter on all of your Dream Realm team, even Mikola. But I don't, honestly, I think I have to put her even behind Scarlita, maybe even behind Rainier or something like that. This is where she would fall because Scarlita overall is just going to be way more impactful, even though it's not useful for Dream Realm, than having Mikola at +10. Mikola is not really needed at +10. She could maybe even be at the end. I want to put her in A tier, but it's just a question where. Okay, so Haywin's +10 exclusive equipment. This is going to cause her ultimate cast, which heals your entire team. It will be have a bonus effect of revitalize buff onto your allies, and what I think that means, it will dispel the debuffs onto your allies when casting, and also maybe give some additional healing on top of that. So it is a meaningful upgrade in terms of the skill effect. It will improve her ability to stall, be a good healer as a stall healer in stall teams. So it is kind of important, but it's purely a PvP based ability. So I want to put her in the B tier because, again, like, I mean, it is not as important at Diurnal, for example, and your other hard-hitting PvP heroes, or even Mikola for like Dream Realm stats. But it is still important for PvP, and Haywin is a pretty meta PvP healer, so I'm going to put it in B tier, top of B tier for right now. Okay, Brian. Brian is not needed. He doesn't get any meaningful skill upgrade. He's totally functional at +5 or even below that if you want to. But yeah. Okay, Iron. Iron +10 is important. Now, he's going to be a hero I need to put in the A tier, even though he's purely PvP. It will increase the immobilization duration from 3 seconds to 6 seconds, doubling it. And also, not actually purely PvP, he's also good for AFK stages and really good for that. And so for those reasons, he is a top tier hero, and his +10 exclusive equipment is a really important skill upgrade. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. Question is, how far do I want to put him? I think behind Scarlita is a good place. Yeah, that's a good place. Okay, Granny. Now, Granny will become unaffected at her +10 exclusive equipment when she casts her ultimate ability, I believe. But it's kind of meaningless. Like, I mean, making her unaffected for that duration doesn't really change anything of a fight. And also, Granny has kind of fallen out of the meta. She's not really too used anywhere. So she's a good tank, but honestly, I just think it's lackluster. I can maybe put her in the end of the B tier. Because it is a meaningful skill upgrade. She can be a good tank in certain teams. So I'll put her at the end of the B tier, but I could even put at the top of the C tier. Not a big priority at all for your account. Okay, so we have Floribel. Floribel is pretty important, but again, it's a PvP upgrade mainly. So I'm going to put it at the top of the B tier, or maybe even behind Haywin. Could be behind Haywin, kind of like the Vala level. Basically, it will allow one of her summons to grow into like a supercharge or super growth version of itself, which is valuable. And also the stats on her will be good for PvP. I use her in my Supreme Arena defense, as you guys know, my Scarlita Stall team, but I don't think it is such a meaningful upgrade compared to the other things we have here, so I'm going to put it in the B tier. Lily May is going to be top of the S tier, and it's for a couple of reasons. Now, the skill upgrade is going to cause more, like 2 extra hits on Rainstorm Ballet for each growth stack that she gets, which can allow her to like remain in that Rainstorm Ballet for longer. That can increase her damage slightly for Dream Realm, which is important, but it doesn't increase any of her true damage output, which is something. So I don't know how much it actually increases her damage output, but either way, the stats she's going to gain from the +10 exclusive equipment, you can't pass on that. That is really valuable. She is a top tier damage dealer for before Endless and at Endless bosses. She's going to make the best use of the stats, best use of your temporal essences, so she's in the S tier. Yeah, no question about it. She's a top of the S tier. Okay, Thorin. Thorin is not needed. Yeah, I mean, I'll put him along with Dunlinger. Basically, Thorin doesn't get any meaningful skill upgrade from +10 exclusive equipment. He has enough stats even at like +5, or if you want to really max out his stats, you can get a hero to +8, because that is another thing. If you take a look at your exclusive equipment upgrading, basically when you upgrade a hero from +0 all the way to +8, not only are they gaining their basic stats of HP, attack, and defenses, they're also getting some additional stats. Like, I think Thorin would be getting vitality, maybe crit resist, tank related stats. For example, like we mentioned, Talene gets haste along with the attack, so they gain some additional stats, and like, so it's pretty valuable to get a hero to +8. And also, it's pretty cheap on your temporal essences. It only costs 30 in total to get from +5 to +8. And 75 in total to get all the way to +10. So that's a consideration. But anyway, he is a plus. He does not need to be taken to +10. Okay, Tassi is important to +10, but she is mainly a PvP hero. We're going to put her in the A tier. And I'm going to put her in front of Rainier. In front of Rainier. Question is, why have I put Diurnal so low? Because Diurnal is late. Like, I mean, Scarlita, I feel like, is more flexible and functional than Diurnal. Diurnal is a hero that, like, you should not be really thinking about building Diurnal until your Scarlita, Talene, Phaesto, Rainier are all complete. Rainier Mythic Plus, the other 3 Supreme Plus. Only then would I consider Diurnal. Anyway, Tassi gets additional penetration on her Dream Dance when the enemies are hypnotized, and that gives her the solo potential and the damage output, and helps you in AFK stages. So she needs plus. She's a plus 10, top, like pretty much top priority. Okay, we have Carolina. Carolina plus 10 increases her magic defense shred, which is useful, but again, it's mainly a PvP or AFK stage use. I'm gonna put it at the top of the B tier, or maybe end of the A tier. Let's put it at the end of the A tier. I think you might regret Carolina though. Like, isn't Tassi more... I don't want to put heroes in the A tier, which you could ever regret. Would you ever regret Carolina to plus 10? Probably not. It really helped in AFK stages this season, but the problem is she's not through great in Supreme Arena this season. Because of like the weakness of the crowd control team. So I'm gonna put her in the top of the B tier. She's definitely a solid option, but she's borderline A or B. Cecilia, no, she does not need her exclusive equipment upgrade to plus 10. She doesn't get any meaningful skill upgrade. She's not a meta hero for anything. Igor. Now, Igor gets a meaningful skill upgrade, but he's not really a meta hero anywhere. He doesn't do so well at pretty much doing anything. You can run him in stall teams, but I don't know. He's just not a great option. And so I would not invest into plus 10 other than the heroes which are the top tier, which are never going to lead. Like, they're all, like, for example, when we look at even the S and A tiers, like, if you look at all of these heroes here, you will never regret them ever being at plus 10. Igor, eventually, you'll come to a point where enough heroes are built on your account where you will regret his plus 10. You're like, why did I do it? It wasn't useful. Because you will not be using Igor anymore. So for right now, we have to put him in the C tier. Yeah. Behind Cassidy, in my opinion. Okay, Ludovic. Ludovic gets more healing potential output from his plus 10 upgrade, but that is not really important. He's a good hero. The plus 10 will also give him stats to hit harder for like Dream Realm boss, like the King Croaker, which he's involved in. But, I mean... And for PvP, that healing can make a difference. So I'll put him at the end of the B tier, but it's mainly a PvP upgrade, or for the stats, is not a big priority for your account. Nara gets a meaningful upgrade. She can then cast Phantom Chains, like prioritize enemies who have below 40% health to execute them. However, Nara is just not a really meta hero. And so, I can put her at the end of the B tier because it is a meaningful skill upgrade. If you use her in PvP, it will be good for you. But honestly, she could even be in the C tier because she's just not used enough to warrant investing into her unless you have all these other heroes sorted. So you can, like, okay, this is the other thing. When you look at this, you can upgrade these heroes. There's no harm in that. I should move Daryl up, maybe. Yeah, Daryl needs to be with Thorn, basically. And I think both should be ahead of Rowan. Yeah. Okay, I think this looks pretty... And Tunisia needs to be with them, too. Yeah, this looks better. Yeah, so you can upgrade all of these heroes to plus 10, even the ones in the C tier, but it's like an ordering. Like, look at all the S heroes. Are they all plus 10? Okay, move on to the next one, all plus 10. But even then, you need to think about, okay, are these heroes also plus 15? Because even before upgrading some of the B heroes, you're going to want to get heroes at plus 15. So that's the other thing. Like, even if you have all of the S and A heroes at plus 10, doesn't mean you can begin working on your B heroes. You might have to take those further to plus 15. Okay, Valen he's not important in any game mode, even though he does technically get a meaningful skill upgrade. For right now, he is completely useless, so you do not want to upgrade him. Lucius, he does not need it. He doesn't get, I think, a meaningful skill upgrade. And then Muriel, no meaningful skill upgrade. Even if you want to use her, get her to plus 5 or plus 8 maximum for the stats. No need to do more than that. And anyway, she's not really meta for anything. Okay, here we come to Marilee. So Marilee, I need to still put Marilee in the S tier for plus 10 exclusive equipment because for beginner players, Marilee, and actually I need to maybe rearrange this a bit. Maybe even put her up here. Okay, I'm going to put her at the end. But basically, you're going to have to look at this and you're going to be like, okay, do I have Marilee at Mythic Plus and do I not have Lily May at Mythic Plus yet? Okay, then take Marilee to plus 10 exclusive equipment because Marilee is going to help you a lot in Dream Realm bosses. Even right now, when I have Lily May at plus 25 exclusive equipment, I do occasionally use Marilee. For example, in Necro Drake and Dream Realm bosses, before getting to Endless bosses, I did use her. Even in, but in Endless, I didn't use her because I have Foresto. But basically, there are going to be certain times where Marilee is still usable. Either way, plus 10, do not take her beyond plus 10. That's a waste because long term, she's not going to be the top tier. But she is really useful and she's going to be one of your first heroes at plus 10. And now we get to go to Corrin. So Corrin, now this is the thing about Corrin. I'm going to put him behind Mikola because Corrin and Mikola, they are so similar. Why is that? It's because their plus 10 exclusive equipment upgrade does not really help anything. Like, it doesn't give them any meaningful skill upgrade. Corrin's skill upgrade is going to cause him to deal a higher percentage of the enemy's health, but in endless bosses, you're already hitting your cap, right? Whether you have 2% of infinite health or 2.5% of infinite health is both infinite. So you're going to be capped at whatever the cap is. And for Corrin, it's 40% of his attack. That is a cap for his true damage, whether he's at plus 5, whether he's at plus 10, whether he's at plus 15. It's just 40% of his attack because they haven't like sort of updated kind of the skill descriptions. I don't know if they're even planning to do that. But like they've done with Lily May, her true damage actually scales with her attack. But anyway, the cap, I mean. So Corrin, getting into plus 10 is only for the stats. And so I would not take him to plus 10. I would leave him at plus 8. That's what I've done on my account. I've left him at plus 8. And because that's the most efficient way to stop someone when you're just looking for the stat upgrades. If you go beyond that, it's really expensive and you're just gaining some minor, like, I mean, getting Corrin from plus 8 to plus 10 is probably going to give him like another 3% attack, 4% attack. It hardly means anything. So that's why he's not really a top priority. I'm going to put him with Mikola just to mention that he is a really important hero to get to plus 5. And even plus 8 if you want to for maximizing your stats. But you do not need to take him beyond that. And taking him beyond that is actually a mistake, in my opinion. But you can do it if you just are crazy about the stats. Okay, so Faye is going to be C tier. She is not important anywhere. Walker, not important anywhere. Sinbad was interesting because I actually looked at his kit. And from his plus 10 exclusive equipment upgrade, it's only going to empower, and plus 15 as well, it's only going to empower his debuff onto an enemy when you're recasting it onto the same enemy. So for example, for bosses, it is going to matter. But for PvP, for example, if you kill the enemy target and you recast your Tracker's Instinct and it recasts onto two different enemy targets, it's not going to have any value of its plus 10 skill upgrade. The plus 10 skill upgrade is only when on a subsequent Tracker's Instinct, if you re-evaluate and it's still the same hitter or the same guard, they get bonus debuffs onto them. Either way, it is important for him to be a plus 10, but he's mainly a PvP hero. I will keep him in the B tier for right now. Yeah, I think he can be above Floorball. I'm fine with that. But I don't want to put him above Haven, because I think Haven is more meta. Same with Carolina. Things like that. I need to move Corrin down, guys. I'm sorry. Because the problem with Corrin, and Corrin is really the one reason when I make these tier lists, and when I made it in the past, I wanted to put an extra category just for plus 8. For heroes that should only go to plus 8. And you know what? I'm going to do that right now. We're going to add a row below. And it's going to be, these are the plus 8 heroes. So this does not mean they're below C. And actually I should probably rearrange this to move them around. Okay, so plus 8 is going to go up here. Basically, do not take him past plus 8. Why plus 8? That gives you stats. And so, for example, if you want to maximize the stats on a hero without over-investing into them, Corrin plus 8 is the way to go. Okay, Luca gets a meaningful skill upgrade, but he's not so important he's a tank as well. So I don't think his skill upgrade is enough to warrant like giving him the plus 10. So I'm going to put him in the C tier. Definitely, he's doable and probably like around Igor Casti level of importance, but he's not going to be above that. Odie is top tier, and Odie actually is going to go Odie is going to go before Taylor. Not before Lily May, but really close. Because Odie, when you get his plus 10 upgrade, he's going to begin the fight with 600 initial energy. That will then allow him to cast his first ultimate so rapidly at the beginning of the fight and begin stacking poison. Really good for bosses and really good for PvP, for AFK stages, for wherever you're going to be using him. So he's really important to plus 10. You don't have to take him to plus 15, and I talked all about that in my exclusive plus 15 priority video, but plus 10 is a must for Odie. Everyone should have Odie at plus 10 on their account. And even Merrily, honestly, I think you should have her at plus 10. Okay, moving on. We have Seth. So Seth is not a meta hero. I don't even know what his plus 10 does, but even if it is a meaningful skill upgrade, you cannot be focusing on him. We can put him in front of Cecia in the C tier. Kruger, not needed at all. Like he is purely mainly a debuffer. His exclusive equipment upgrade doesn't provide anything, so a value. So keep him. I mean, he can be above these other things, like maybe Valen, but not. Yeah. Citrana. Citrana, again, not a meta hero anywhere. I don't think she actually gains any major upgrades on her plus 10 exclusive equipment, if I remember correctly. And even if she does, I do not think it's going to be worth it until, like, a lot of things would have to change in the future about different game modes being added to make this worth it. But I'm going to put her around in front of Valen, yeah. Okay, now Coco plus 10. Pretty important. It's a PvP related. It's not really useful for PvE content. For PvP, what it will do is when she casts her ultimate ability, it will basically, I think, cleanse and dispel the debuffs on your team or remove control effects on your allies, and give herself resilience, which is pretty valuable, especially if you can have her like with an artifact that already protects her or keeps her in an unaffected state. This cleanse is really strong. So I think it is pretty important, but it is a purely PvP upgrade, and for that reason, I would put her in front of around about Haywin, Coco, Sinbad, somewhere, yeah, around this level. Now, the thing is, right, if Sinbad's debuffs were more effective onto bosses, he would definitely be higher than he is now. The problem is, he's not very effective as a debuffer for bosses, so he's just not overall a top tier useful hero in different areas. And that is why I am not rating him so high for right now. Things could change in the future. All it needs is maybe some charm bonuses, some different effects to make Sinbad meta for boss content. But until that happens, he has to be around this B tier. He cannot even be in the A tier, in my opinion. Okay, Antandra, not important. She's a tank. She doesn't need the skill upgrade. Soren, he gets minor haste boost from 60 to 80. So kind of meaningful skill upgrade. But I don't think it's worth it enough. I would put him, it depends how much you like him, if you're his biggest fan, and that will apply to any hero, even a C tier hero. You can upgrade them before some of the B tier heroes, but I would put him in the C tier, and I would put him behind around Igor, because he can be in front of Igor. He's more meta PvP Igor, but I think Casti has a really really meaningful skill upgrade, which I can see in the future being useful, and that's why she's at the top of C tier. Arden gets a really important buff, but he is a PvP hero, so I'm going to put him right by Carolina. Basically, his entangling vines, which are his control, are going to be prolonged in duration from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, which is it is a big upgrade. It's good for AFK stages as well. He's probably actually more important than Carolina, if I had to say. Leica, in my opinion, not important. She does gain a meaningful skill upgrade, but she's only useful in the diagonal comp as a support herself, like for her own damage, or it has some potential of stunning the enemies, but I don't consider it that important. We can put her like above, like around Set. Yeah, I think that's fine. Damien. Now, Damien is a mainly PvP hero right now. He's going to gain a haste boost from 40 to 50 when you get his plus 10 exclusive equipment upgrade, which eventually is going to be important for you. And I don't think it's as important as Haywin, definitely not as important as Arden or Carolina, but it is going to be, in my opinion, more important than Coco, so I would put it something like this. Yeah, in my opinion. Kafra is bottom of C tier, not useful, and we have Parissa. Parissa is going to be, she does gain a meaningful skill upgrade. She can be good in PvP, she's good in battle drills. I'm going to put her in the B tier, maybe before Granny. Is that crazy to do it before Granny? Well, actually, I think Nara should be before Parissa, something like this. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay, Almas. Almas doesn't gain any meaningful skill upgrade. The life drain on his damage is not important. He's basically a tank, so he's going to be with the other tanks here, like Thorn and Dunlinger in the C tier. Lenya gets a meaningful skill upgrade. If she wins her duel, she's going to gain 8 seconds prolonged boost of her Mythic Plus stats, which are like a high crit damage boost in attack. So definitely, plus 10 is really important for Lenya. She is a meta PvP hero, so maybe I will put her in the A tier, end of the A tier. You know, I'm going to move some heroes up to the A tier. I'm going to move Arden and Carolina up to the A tier. I like this more. Yeah, I mean, Carolina is right on the borderline, but because of her use in AFK stages as well as PvP, that's why I'm really tempted to keep her up here, as compared to the other heroes in the B tier who are either mainly only PvP. Yeah. Okay, Nero is going to be the C tier, not important. And I'm not really paying that much attention to the ordering of the C tier anymore. But the top ones in the C tier, the ordering is correct. Cassidy, Soren, Igor, yeah, for the top line, basically. Sylvina. Sylvina plus 10 upgrade is important. If you use her in PvP, it will be important for you. I consider it even more important than Floribel, because it has a frighten on her kill of an enemy if her Blade Vortex, I think is the name of her skill, is still active. And that is a meaningful like crowd control. It improves the strength of Sylvina. She also gets stats from the upgrade, which are going to improve her damage output. So she is a pretty good PvP hero. And especially with Clash Fronts now, you can run Sylvina on your teams and the opponent cannot position around it. So I like it. Now I'm going to put her in front of Sinbad. Yes, so Sinbad I am not rating so high. However, like, of course, eventually he will be, like, and I've also not rated Burial very high, but I'm kind of happy with the position of the heroes here, honestly. This is how I would recommend it to people. I don't think upgrading your Sinbad is, like, a major priority. Because, like, the people who have even made Sinbad work is being in pre-endless bosses. He's not usable in any endless boss as a top option. Pre-endless bosses, very unique circumstances. He was never, like, really consistently the best performing hero. And the thing is, they all had plus 15 Sinbads. So if you have your plus 10 Sinbad even, it's going to be kind of a wasted investment. So that's why I'm rating him kind of low. Viperon, he gets a meaningful skill upgrade, but he's just not a very strong hero. Like, I can put him in the C tier. Definitely maybe in front of Igor, I would think that's where he belongs. And then finally Salazar gets a meaningful skill upgrade, but he's not a good hero at all. So I'm going to put him down here. Okay, so we are done. Here is the finalized tier list for the exclusive equipment plus 10 upgrades. Corin has a tier dedicated to himself for the fact that, and to mention that heroes being taken to plus 8, they are going to max out their stat gains for the lowest temporal essence cost. And so heroes which are you just want those stats on, that is where you want to put them. But anyway, guys, overall, I am very happy with this tier list. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Let me know if you disagree or have any different changes you would like to make to the tier list. And also let me know in the comment section which is the next hero you're going to take to exclusive equipment plus 10 upgrade, because it's such a key upgrade for a lot of heroes. And so that's why it's important, I think, that we made this tier list. And good luck getting your upgrades, following this tier list. If you want to take a more in-depth look for a plus 15 upgrades, you can take a look at that video I uploaded a few days ago. You can find it on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this one. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.